All right. GM everyone. I think we are live on Twitter. We'll also be live here in Discord. Discord's probably easier for you all to engage and chat in real time. So if you're already playing Duper, feel free to stay in Discord. Otherwise, hello all of you on Twitter as well. This is going to be the first Duper Townhall since season 1, and it will be weekly townhalls will be at around similar times in the future. Wednesday 7 a.m. Pacific time, which is around I believe afternoon Europe and evening in Asia. So hopefully a lot of you can make it. Yeah, we'll perhaps wait for a couple of minutes until everyone's here. And I see Phyzix Teacher is here already. He'll be with me going over some game tips, and also we'll review some of the top games, of the top ranked games in the past week. There were a lot of games in the past week since season 1 launch. A lot of excitement from you guys. It was a really good start for season 1, and I think today, with this 1.5 hours kind of town hall, really want to debrief, what some of the both some of the basics as well as what has happened in some of the more high level games, so that you guys can learn, and also I will share a bit more than I can about the roadmap alphas for Duper. And at the end, I will be giving away I'll be giving away 5 discounts to season passes. So for those of you who are actually, we'll probably wait. There's not that many people here yet. We'll wait a little bit, and let me make Phyzix Teacher invite to speak. Okay. Awesome. GM.
Hello.
All right, let's see. And then let's wait for Inhuman. Oh, he is here as well. Awesome. Can some of you go on Twitter and just check that the stream is going okay? Huh. Okay. You are welcome to speak, Zen.
It's working.
Oh, it's working? Okay, that's great. So yeah, we'll start in perhaps 5 minutes with a playground playthrough, and before that, I'll just repeat the basics. So Duper is a social war game that natively involves stakes. It's built by Curio, which is the team, we've finished Duper since May this year. The first ever version ran preseason June to July. And last Tuesday, season 1 was finally live, and it came with a big product update as well as quite a few incentives. For example, leaderboard rewards. For example, a big referral program that gives you sparks and ETH for people you invite. And really, Duper is a really fun game to play. It's both a really fun game to play and something that you can play with money. Various amounts of money, small amount with friends or a very large amount coming up in tournaments. So hopefully today, for those of you who are new or old, you'll learn something, and because we'll be going over a couple of the ranked games in the past week. So ranked games are basically the ETH games that we've been running about 3 or 4 times a week now, and they're, because people are pay a lot more attention in ranked games, they tend to be a lot more exciting. So we'll be going over those, and I believe in one of them, like 1 or 2 of them, Phyzix was the biggest earner. So you can explain Phyzix. You can explain how you were thinking during that game and how you're strategizing. Cool.
Sounds good.
So maybe we can start with. Let's just start in the playground. That's kind of what I intended to start with. Because lots of you are new to Duper, and it's important to revisit the basics. So, and the playground is the best place to do that, especially when it comes to non-diplomatic skills such as attacking, building troops, looking at combo rewards, that kind of stuff. So, I want to show you how I pass the playground. And Phyzix, feel free to comment on things or ask questions and in Inhuman as well. Actually, yeah, Inhuman, if you, I assume you played a couple of playground and casual games. Let me just put on my headphones in case there's echo.
Yijia, I want to ask. So are you streaming this?
Yeah,
or...
the stream is up in Discord, I think, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to turn this on. My bad. Okay, do you see this now?
Yeah.
Nice.
Looks good.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna turn the sound a little up. And you can hear the game audio too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Alright, so there are these tasks that are pretty helpful for beginner guidance. For example, this arrow points to the next enemy, one of the next enemies I can attack, which is quite nice, although I'm out of attack points. Yeah, so now it's my turn again. I gain another attack point. The attack point, remember, applies to the entire game, so you can't just you can only use one of your troop stacks to attack in any of your turns, unless you accumulate your attack point to 2. So let me see, I can attack this. Seems like I can attack this enemy. I'll go ahead and do it. Seems like I have 4 strength, which is greater than the 1 strength.
I've got a question. Am I still up here?
Oh yeah, you are.
So typically at the beginning of a game, if you're the surrounding 4 players, if you miss the first turn, you don't get too bad of a deal, right? Because you can make up for it in the next turn. Like say if the game loads a little late or you're FK, which I was yesterday. But if I was red, do I miss out on attack point if I miss the first turn? Is that my understanding?
Yes, for red, you don't want to miss the first turn. But for other players, yeah, it doesn't really hurt. Especially because you can't upgrade to level 2 on round 2 anyways, even if you optimize for turn 1. So you see I got the straight over here, 3 card straight, 7, 8, 9, and I'm able to produce my first research center. And usually I just go select the economist because it gives additional gold, as well as some other trade benefits, which I'll talk about later, which we'll discuss when we're looking at real games.
What would Phyzix pick?
Oh yeah, what would Phyzix pick?
If you're in the playground, 4 researcher is gonna be the most help for sure.
That's true, because yeah.
Just the playground Phyzix? Just.
Yeah. So, and Phyzix, do you want to explain why that is?
Yeah, sure. So what forts allow you to do is put another type of building on the map called a fort. And once the researcher is kind of done and completed, which takes a few rounds, looks like Yijia, did you build it in round 3?
Round 4. Round 2, sorry.
Okay.
Round 2.
Oh no, you probably built it in round
round 3, round 3, yes.
Yeah, because it'll take 2 rounds to complete. And once that's complete, he'll get a fort card, and he can place that on a tile. And forts have 7 strength. They can't be moved like infantry and other units can be. But when you attack with them or defend with them, they absorb damage and then aren't destroyed unless the entire tile falls. So basically in Duper you can notice Yijia can produce like infantry, and they cost a gold each, and every gold matters in Duper, and so the ability for forts to kind of create that asymmetrical cost in an attack, because you're not losing that kind of 7 attack that you normally would if you attacked with 7 infantry, makes them really powerful for gaining an advantage in combat, which is typically symmetrical in terms of what you lose. And they also allow you to support adjacent tiles if you have a tank in them. So it kind of looks like Yijia is setting up with a tank and two adjacent tiles with infantry in each. If he puts a fort where the tank is, that 7 strength will be added to the adjacent tiles as well. Which is really powerful because it's just like a very strong, 7 is quite a bit in Duper in general. And so it's just a very strong defense and offense for 4.
Definitely. So it looks like I got a gold card, 4 gold, and I'm gonna go ahead and use it. And that's from the combo rewards, which are updated every 2 rounds. And the biggest, for those of you who are new, just remember that the player, and usually there are 5, the player who uses up the top ranking combo, for example, a 3 card, like a 3 of a kind usually is pretty big, or a high flush or high straight, meaning straight or flush with a high card, gets the combo reward. And sometimes the combo reward can be pretty helpful. Like the next one is 2 tanks, which I would think is the most helpful combo reward there is. So now I have a choice. I can try to continue taking barbarian tiles, which usually is a good strategy, but right now, since I'm PvPing with red, there's 0 win-win situation here, and I calculate, oh, there's tank. There's probably at most 2 tanks here, so I'm gonna attack with something like 11 forces, which turned out to be successful. They have 9 ended up, and because of my tank supporting in the back, I didn't end up losing the tank, which is very desirable. And actually, since Phyzix mentioned the fort researcher, I'm gonna exchange card with red, since I see a king over here. Queen, king, ace, that can make a straight, which allows me to produce a fort researcher. Although the fort researcher will come pretty late at this point, probably after I win. Inhuman, if you have any questions from kind of like more, beginner perspective, feel free to ask. Probably very helpful for other people who are just getting started in Duper.
My questions are a lot more like mid-game oriented, honestly. Like,
Okay.
planes. When do you decide you want to expand and stuff like that?
Sounds good. Let's for when we look at the live games, or not the live games, the replays. I think that's a good time to discuss.
Yeah, I can highlight.
System.
Oh yeah, the replay system is very cool.
All right, so
just-
I'm just gonna go
Yeah, yeah.
ahead and attack.
So you notice when Yijia attacks here, it does a comparison in strength,
Oh shoot,
and we actually lost.
we lost because they
But
have tanks on
in-
both sides supporting.
In either case of winning or losing, both sides lose the same number of the same number of units essentially.
Yeah.
If it's just like for example, if it's 20 infantry versus 19 infantry, both sides lose 19, and that's where the kind of asymmetry comes in with forts. And there's a little bit of asymmetry you can create with supporting tanks as well. If a tank doesn't
Oh,
take
nice.
up to the 3 damage, it will survive. So units don't have health. They have to be destroyed by the amount of strength that they represent. So a tank has to take 3 damage to be destroyed. If it takes 2, it lives, and it's still full health.
Right.
So those little things add up a lot, and are important to pay attention to.
So now I have a pair. I'm going to use it. I have a choice. I can produce a tank, which would help me with my future attacks, or I can produce 5 gold right now with my economic conference. And I'm gonna do that. There's no right answer here. I'm just gonna get some more gold and defend up my borders a bit more.
No, the right answer is always economic conference, actually.
Unless you don't have a tank.
In terms of, sometimes that's true. In like the very early game, sometimes the tank is better. But in terms of gold efficiency, economic conference is one of the highest rate of acquiring gold in Duper.
That's fair. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy an attack point from the other side, and it's kind of dumb because we're straight up enemies, but the AI is programmed to accept all your trades. So definitely use that to your advantage.
Yeah, take
And-
advantage of the AI for sure.
Right, so now I have the game music changed. I'm gonna lower it a little bit so you can still hear us talking. But I still have one attack point, and I'm going to use a 4 over here, which is 7 strength. 7 plus 12 is 19, plus 6, which is 25. Okay, I don't have a chance this round, but in the next round I'll be able to take their capital.
Just FYI, no music or sound effects are coming through on this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
No, I hear him. That's weird.
I don't hear them on Discord. That's strange.
Yeah, it's working.
Interesting.
And also, just to highlight, the win condition of the game is
Oh, yeah.
to get a certain number of tiles. So you can see in the top right, it says tile to win 7 out of 9. So if Yijia was to get 9 tiles, he would win this game.
Right.
Or if he was the last man standing by destroying red, he could also win the game that way.
Yeah.
Whenever you destroy a capital, the win condition reduces by 1, so it would go down to 8 tiles after red's
Yeah.
destroyed.
And for those of you who are just getting started, I would not recommend this strategy. It's a lot more risky than if you were just taking one neutral tile at a time, faster compared to red, and also defend up your borders. I just like to go crazy on the attack on their capital. It feels good, with 35 forces. Seems like
Here
we're
we
success-
go.
Oh, what the? Okay, there's 5
Oh.
buffs.
Oh, you've been
Okay.
giving a lot of gems over to red, haven't
Yeah.
you? So because
Okay, so
Yijia's
that
been
failed.
doing like he bought an attack point from red, he's been trading with red a little bit to get some cards. Whenever you
Right.
do initiate diplomacy like that, it hands over a gem to the opposing player,
Yeah.
and it makes them harder to attack because it gives them a bonus in defense against that specific player.
Yeah.
So luckily red failed in their counterattack.
Yep.
And so Yijia could just take 2 neutral tiles here and win the game,
Yep.
which you might want to do Yijia, or you might
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
lose against the AI.
Yes.
'Cause they kind of ramp up pretty strong.
Right. Towards late game. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna take neutral tiles at this point. And another tip to mention here is not use more gold than you need. For example, when you attack a level 1 tile, you just need 2 infantries or 1 tank. You don't need to produce more than that. Producing more than where you need, or like only when you're attacking players and defending against players, should you think about, oh, how much gold should I invest in placing troops. But yeah, so here I won actually, and but because I've been trading a lot with red, you see that red has 5 of orange gems, which is my originally minted gems, and I only have 5 of that as well. So in a real game with 5 players, if I actually won, red would have been earning as well. Not as much as myself, because the winner is able to take back their own stake before the pot is distributed. So usually the winner can earn with fewer gems of their own. But other people need, typically 3 to 4 gems, especially, and more if you're holding gems of the middle player, aka the dealer. But yeah, I won, and that's all that matters in Playground.
Can I
Yeah.
mention one thing as well?
Go
You
ahead.
guys were saying how taking neutral tiles is the way to go. That depends on the situation. If you're in a race against someone else who's also got equal amount of neutral tiles that they can take, and they might win the game because they could get an AP from a neighboring ally or a foe.
That's true.
You want to be taking their tiles instead of neutral tiles, because the neutral
Yes.
tiles doesn't help you win race to win the game.
Yes, that's a fair point. I wanted to clarify. I meant just the Playground. So I was
100%.
Yeah. So I was saying, like, in the Playground, don't try to replicate, especially when you're just starting. Replicate what I try to do, which is take level 3, take the opponent's capital. It's pretty tough. But if you just take neutral tiles, you're pretty much guaranteed to win. If you defend up your borders. But yeah, Zen, 100% correct. In an actual game, it really depends. So okay. So how about
Real quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I just want to mention, if anyone would like to come up and speak for a question or a comment or whatever, feel free to request to speak. I think as a town hall, it makes sense to just
Yeah. Definitely.
let people come up to the stage if they have something they want to say or ask or whatever, and we can kind of have the floor open to folks.
Definitely, definitely. And since I can't see the Discord right now, why don't you guys let me know if someone requested to speak,
Sounds good.
so I can, yeah.
Okay.
So why don't we start with some actual games? So I'm gonna pull up. I have 4 games that we picked out from last week, from the past week, ranked games. And we can start with this one where Phyzix won big.
Oh boy.
So let's see. I'm still sharing my
Is
screen,
this-
right?
Yeah. Do you know
Okay.
if this is from yesterday?
I
Or
think
the
it's
day
from
before,
yesterday.
Sunday?
We'll I
Okay.
mean, you'll see pretty quickly. So yeah, this is a replay of the game, and I forgot which. I mean, we can watch the early game together, and then we'll pretty soon figure out, who Phyzix was. You'll probably remember who you were.
I'm probably red. I've been bidding. I've been max
Okay,
bidding.
you've been bidding.
pretty much
Okay.
for red for
Yeah,
the
so
past week. So
Do you wanna explain how bidding works briefly while
Yeah,
we keep
sure.
this 1x for now?
Go ahead. Yeah. So at the beginning of a game, all the players put in their initial stake. In ranked games right now, it's set to 0.005 ETH, which is what, like $20-30 or something. And then at the beginning of the game, you have a opportunity to bid more than that if you want to try and be the dealer, who is the red player in the middle of the map. And then in order from greatest to smallest bid after that determines the turn order. So if you bid 10 or 20% more than the initial stake, like maybe 0.001 or 0.002 ETH, you give yourself a chance to be that red player. And the red player is definitely positive EV. I feel like in general it's a little overpowered right now, but because you have to bid for it, it does do a nice job of balancing for it. Because by bidding, you only increase your own stake, which means that you're theoretically a bigger target for everyone. Because if they eliminate you, that larger stake then gets distributed to all the rest of the players. So it's a fun little balancing act kind of in game of like figuring out how much you want to risk being a target, but also by being the red player, you have a ton of agency over how the game develops and gets played.
Definitely. So over here it seems like. By the way, I'm playing this on 2x, so I think it's a good pace. We'll accelerate or decelerate when we need to. Over here it seems like Phyzix, you expanded towards orange first. Do you want to explain how you think about like your strategy playing dealer? Like, what tiles to expand to?
Sure, yeah.
How do you, yeah.
And Inhuman, feel free, cut me off
Yeah.
at any point. I tend to ramble, so if you have like questions about anything, I'm happy to talk about that as well. So as the dealer, generally, I like to save my extra attack point as long as possible, because I like to try and use it to get to people to start forming trades, and I want to see where the corner players are going first. And so you saw me took that first tile the first turn. I think I built an economist. Can you
Yeah, this is the economist.
Okay, so I built an economist in round 2, which is going to get me an economist in round 4.
Yeah.
So that'll get my gold production going. And then I went over towards orange. That allowed me to build or level up my capital level 2 on round 3, and then start trading with orange. And then you'll see I took another 2 tiles now on this turn, because I see that I can make a connection with both purple and then also with blue, and so I can start talking with them. As soon as you have an adjacent tile with another player, that lets you trade with them. And then once you make a trade, that allows you to communicate with them through the message system in the left pane. Really important as the dealer to get those communications going as soon as you can. You kind of want to have that first communication if possible, because you want to make as many friends as possible. Because again, you are kind of a target that you have a larger stake. But you're also a little bit stronger than all the other players, so you have a little bit of weight you can throw around.
For sure. So yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just looking at the game, seeing how it's developing.
Yeah.
So I got level 2 capital, which is nice. My economy's going pretty good. I'm looking at what other players are getting level 2. It looks like all but purple have level 2, which is a good sign that the players know what they're doing, because you want to try and get level 2 capitals as soon as you can by round 2 for the red and by round 3 for everyone else. And now that it's purple's turn, maybe they'll get a level 2 capital as well, although they did take a tier 3 tile, which is kind of like an investment, so they might not be able to get a level 2 this turn. So now it's my turn again. I get my card for turn. I won the combo reward at some point, so I got that extra 3 infantry card, which is nice, so I'm gonna probably save that depending on how the game develops, or I might use it and turn it into gold. It looks, did I just do that? I can't really tell what I did, but I've got my economist defended with just a single troop and the tank supporting, and then you'll notice the rest of my tiles are empty. I do that because all I'm doing right now is saving up gold to get level 3 capital, and I have 19 gold, so I'm pretty close. It costs 22 gold. So next turn I'll be doing that. I also don't really like, if a player really wants to take one of my tiles right now, I want to signal that is not the biggest deal to me, and it's not like a sign of aggression.
So you would be okay if people took your tiles?
Well, yeah, and if someone takes a tile and they have to destroy one of my troops to do it,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a very clear, like, I'm now your enemy. But if someone takes an empty tile of mine, it's still kind of like up in the air. And I'd rather keep relationships. If someone really needs to take one of my tiles for whatever reason in their mind,
I see.
I'd rather try and maintain those relationships. There are some critical tiles that you notice I defend. The one next to orange and the one next to blue, kind of corner across from their capital. And I really want to keep those because those allow me to attack blue and orange in the late game, because they're only 2 tiles away from their capital. Those are kind of critical tiles where I try to always get in a game a tile that is 2 places away from each capital as the red player, so that I have the ability to attack any player in the late game.
That's an interesting thought. I wanted to comment real quick. Like, it's interesting how you how you think of these corner tiles as critical, but the tiles next to your capital as not. Because I typically think of these 4 as very critical tiles, and I usually defend them up with infantry and the tank in the middle, and then try to take 1 or 2 of the corner tiles. But yeah, so it's interesting to see how I see how you're yeah.
So you'll notice I took that kind of critical tile across from purple, because again, it allows me to attack purple later. Honestly, the adjacent tiles, they are like, you don't want to like get surrounded, but not as critical in my view as much as like the 2 away from each capital. Because the game ends pretty quickly if you know what you're doing as the red player. Like, it usually ends in my games around round 8, and so other players really don't have an option to even try and take down your capital by round 8. They're just not rich enough. They're still getting up their level 3 capitals. You'll notice I got level 3 capital in round 5. Other players, have level 2 capitals and like half the amount of gold they need to get to level 3. So they're still ramping up by the time I'm already kind of like charged up and now saving up for a big attack. And part of this is the economist that I built in round 2. It ramps up my gold production, lets me run those econ conferences, and part of it is just taking tiles really efficiently and taking advantage of the fact that you have an extra attack point, extra gold as the red player. So let's see. So I've given gold gem check. I've given 2 to orange, 1 to the other 3 players. I received 2 of green, blue, and purple, and 1 of orange. So it's pretty spread out right now, which is not ideal in my point of view as the red player. I kind of like to try and be a little more selective in the gems I'm giving players, so that one, I have like clear allies, and two, clear targets to like get gems back in the late game. I actually have no idea what happens in this game. I'm not sure what I end up doing here. So I'm interested to see, like, just looking at it, orange and green, have the most of my gems right now. So if I did want to destroy a player, depending on how I'm feeling, how strong those players are, if I have the ability to attack them, they'll be a little bit more beneficial than blue and purple. But because they're my allies, it's also a lot riskier. So you kind of have to balance, like, what does my gold income look like versus theirs? Green and orange are still level 2, I think, as far as I can see.
Yeah, everyone's level 2 at the moment, except you.
I have to check again. Looks like you killed 3 infantry supported by tank for level 2 tiles, and that was it. Okay, yeah. So I think I did that because I actually didn't want to spend the gold. I would rather just throw the 3 infantry away. So that's why I did that. Early on in the game, RxDX is mentioning that I use a 3 infantry card supported by tank to take a level 2 tile. Sometimes it is better to just get as much gold as quickly as possible. And so I don't know the exact situation because I'd have to look back at how much gold I had and what my goals were for that particular turn. But I felt like just throwing away that card to get 3 gold instead of 2 gold in the attack was worth it.
So why don't you stack your infantry units often? I noticed that you have like a lot of them at 1.
Yeah, great question. So when you make an attack on another player's capital, which is my goal here, probably next turn, or the turn after, depends on how this game plays out, you need a lot of gold to do that. So it looks like orange is level 3, is that correct?
Orange is level 3.
And blue is level 3 now?
Yep.
So with their capital defenses being 24, you need a significant amount of gold in order to destroy their capital. So you'll need like 30 to 40 minimum gold. And so if I spread out my gold across all my tiles, I'll have no gold, essentially. Like if I want to put 4 or 5 troops on each tile and have a really good defense, I'll be left with nothing. And it removes the ability for me to destroy a capital, which is the quickest way to end the game because it reduces the tile count win condition. Just winning with 12 tiles without destroying a player as the red player is like one of the hardest things you could ever try and do in Duper. And so just trying to play like a really long defensive game where you stack up a bunch of troops on all your tiles. Oh, I remember what happens. Okay, yeah. So purple does purple makes this game nice for me because so just finish that last thought. You need a big stack of gold to destroy a player, and so trying to defend each tile is really, really difficult. Because you just saw purple attack with like 30.
Okay, let me pause.
Like a defensive 4 or 5.
Let me pause the game right here. I'm pausing the game right here. So just finish your stream of thought.
Yeah. So now that purple's destroyed blue, that means that purple received all the gems that the blue player had. Which unfortunately for them makes them like a really prime target. They received all the red gems that they got that I gave blue, and all the other gems that orange, purple, and green might have given blue. They've also made themselves really vulnerable because by using all that gold on an attack, now they don't have gold to defend, and so they're just like in a really, really vulnerable spot in a case like this. And when a red player like me in this game has been sitting there amassing gold, that's extreme. Like you'd have to be like begging them in chat or like really trust them to be able to make a move like that, or just not be aware that the red player can do something like this. So I put a fort down in that critical tile that I mentioned earlier that I got early in the game and then held on to, and then I transformed my capital into the final form, which is now a movable unit with 21 strength. They can attack multiple times in a turn, which is really strong, but it costs me all of my economic gold income for the rest of the game. So I'm no longer producing gold from my capital, which is a huge deal. It's like 8 gold per turn. So it's kind of like a final ditch effort type of move. And so I take the first tile with the capital, because if I took it with infantry only have 1 stamina, so they'd then be stuck and wouldn't be able to attack again on that other tile. So I have to take it with something that can move more than once. So I take it with my capital, and now I don't want to, well, actually it depends.
Okay, I'm good.
Oh yeah, in this game, I can just use my capital with a fort, with another fort, and attack their capital, boosting my capital strength from 21 plus 7 to 28, and then also protecting my capital if they did have 21 strength and destroying it, because if you attack with your capital and then it dies, you lose your capital.
Right.
And so they have a level 2 capital. They just used all their gold, so I know they can't even defend anyway, so I don't even need to bother with using the stack of gold that I made. So I just use my fort and a capital and destroy their capital, which then gives me all of purple's gems that they also receive from blue and the ones that they received earlier in the game. So I get kind of all the red gems back. My allies get a little bit back because they each had 3 gems like orange and green that I'd kind of gotten cozy with. I don't think they were none of us were expecting the game to end that early, because we weren't sure that purple was going to destroy blue like that. But by doing that, they did reduce the tile count by 1, and then by me destroying purple, the tile count gets reduced again by 1, and so then I win the game.
And then also important to point out, seems like green and purple raised over here. So you see that their initial stake was 0.005, and it's more than that. That means they've raised in the game, and that makes the pot bigger in the case they didn't win. And so, green had 3 of red gems, orange had 3 of red gems, but orange was able to earn while green was lost a little bit. And that's because of the race that changed the dynamics of it.
Raises are super risky. Really wouldn't recommend raising, especially if you're just learning how to play the game. At all, really. But if you do raise on like the turn before you're gonna win, if you get that opportunity. Otherwise, it's extremely risky. If people can identify who raises, it's kind of like bidding really high for the dealer. It puts a huge target on your head, because you now have extra stake that the other players will want to try and get by making sure that you're not the winner, essentially.
So I want to pause here and see if any of you have questions. I know you guys are chatting in the Discord text channel in the town hall, but just want to briefly pause. And Inhuman, like you said, you had some questions about when to go for plane, fort, etc. I think it's a good time to ask those before we dive into another game.
Yeah, I didn't want to interject in the middle of the game going on. I've been taking little notes here actually.
Sounds good.
I think it's cool that the whole infantry tip in managing your gold economy was really smart there. That was like a big thing for me. I made the new mistake
that's
my
a
first
huge
2 games
part.
of stacking infantry, and then I got wrecked by the plane. I was like, what am I doing? What did I do wrong here?
So like in general, like there's 3 tiers of tiles, right? There's tier 1s, tier 2s, and tier 3s. In general, like you never want to try and take tier 2s or tier 3s with just infantry. It's incredibly inefficient to do so, and you end up losing gold by taking those tiles with infantry. For example, tier 2s have 3 strength, and so if you use 4 troops, because you need 4 strength to take a 3 strength tile, if you use 4 troops to take a tier 2, you're losing 3 troops because the tile has 3 defense, and then you're only getting 3 gold back from that tile or card. And so you're net even, basically. And that's makes it really hard to earn gold at all, because you're not actually gaining gold by gaining a tile. And so what you want to do is use a tank supporting a single troop, because 3 plus 1 is still 4 strength. You still take the tier 2 tile that has 3 defense, but you only lose a single troop, so you only lose 1 gold. and you gain 3 gold. So you're net positive 2 gold in that case. Because the tank will take the remaining 2 damage and then not be destroyed. So it's like, yeah, taking tiles efficiently, super important. And using tanks is usually what you want to try and do in the early game because they have that 3 kind of strength, but they don't get destroyed unless they take all of that damage. So for a tier 1 tile, they only have 1 defense. You can just take tier 1s for free with a tank, and you'll get 1 to 3 gold, net positive. And then for tier 3s, they have a variable 6 to 9 strength, and so you want to use at least 1 tank supporting like 7 troops. So you get that 10, so you have a guaranteed take. Or you could do something even better, which is use a fort and a tank to take a tier 3 for free, because it'll have 10 strength and the fort will take the damage first, so you don't lose anything. That's getting a little more advanced and probably a bit too much for this town hall, but moral of the story is taking tiles really efficiently, not spending your gold too quickly so you can ramp up your capital, because players are incentivized to take barbarian tiles over opponent tiles, just as a basic fundamental rule of Duper, because they don't get rewards for taking enemy tiles, and they also might make an enemy out of me taking someone else's tiles.
Yeah, there are a couple of questions in the chat.
Round
So,
1,
round
do you go
one,
attack 1 or 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you
Go
go
ahead.
attack?
Yeah, read it.
And I'm just gonna repeat the question for those on Twitter. Yeah. So for round 1 as non-red, do you go for attack 1 or level 2 tile with the initial 5 troops?
Yeah, so those initial 5 troops are a little different than the other troops in the game because you don't have to spend gold for those initial 5 troops. And my general philosophy is turn those 5 troops into gold as quickly as possible. So I like to take tier 2 tiles on the first turn of the game because you get that instant 3 gold, and now you're down to 2 troops on that tile, and then you try and take a tier 1 after that, and then you can take a tier 2 and a tier 1 for free, essentially. So yeah, trying to turn those 5
Yep.
troops into gold so that you can get your level 2 capital is what I usually aim for. Good question.
And then
Mark.
someone asked, did tanks support an empty tile?
They do not support empty tiles unless that tile has a building on it. So if you have an economic researcher or a fort researcher or a fort, tanks will support those things or your capital. They will not just support absolutely empty, no infantry, no building, no nothing tiles. They only support buildings or troops or other units.
And then last question before we look at a new game. What's the advantage of minting new gems? Is it to have more gems to spread and to have more allies?
Yeah, so the biggest advantage of raising is that you're diluting all of the other players that hold your gems. By increasing the amount of gems total in the game of your color, like if you go from 10 orange gems to 13 gems total, if blue player has one of those gems, their kind of equity stake or their equity share in you has now decreased because you're getting all 3 of those new gems. So that's the biggest reason, is that you essentially will take more of the pot if you are the winning player. It also has the upside of being able to, you can be a little more generous with your gems, so you can trade more given that you have more gems, and also you've diluted the other player's stake in you. And so it's kind of both things. But then it comes with the risk that if you lose, all of your stake is now being distributed amongst the winning player's gems. So you only get your stake back if you're the winning player. I hope that makes sense.
Yep. Okay, so feel free to ask more questions in the chat. And in the meantime, we're going to look at a new game replay from, I believe this one's also from yesterday. So let me just pull this up. Real quick. This isn't.
Inhuman, did you have any other
Oh, yeah.
questions or thoughts while he's pulling this up? And no worries
How
if
did
not.
you go about learning the interactions between like damage splitting? When you said they used a fort and a
Oh, yeah.
take a T through tile, was that just
Yeah,
like
so
experimenting?
yep. So when
Alright, I'm
I
gonna pause
first
the game
started
so we can-
playing, no worries. When I first started playing, which was, I don't even remember when it was,
Like
probably
May
like a
or
month and a
something?
half, 2 months ago. Yeah,
No,
it
like
was it
May,
was
yeah.
a couple months ago. None of this was clear, and no one knew what they were doing. Basically, there weren't even that many players at the time, and so I literally was just spending hours in playground testing every interaction and trying to figure out, yeah, all the little things basically that lead to getting gold efficiently and as quickly as possible, and playing the game sort of optimally. So yeah, just lots of testing and figuring things out and talking with other players.
I think that's a very powerful tip when you can learn to split damage like that and then not take a cost of units
Yeah.
whenever taking tiles.
It's
very important.
it's like one of the biggest things that makes experienced players run away with games, which is why I've been trying, like a lot of us experienced players that know these things have been trying to like produce some educational content, like be in chat and answer questions and help folks, because like if you don't understand how to take tiles efficiently, you are just dead in the water. You will not stand a chance, because you're just generating gold at such a slower rate than other players. So yeah,
Definitely.
really, really important.
Yeah. Okay. So in this current game, let me see which perspective is it right now? Let me one sec. Oh, so this is showing orange player. Okay, so this is a game that I was in, and I believe the middle player was Kaladin. I see you, Kaladin, here, and it depends. Do you want to? It's the game where you ran away, like spoiling it a little bit. But do you want to show your perspective or mine, if you're listening? Okay, maybe he's currently away, so I down for either.
He's
okay.
here.
But maybe you can come on stage, and then we can show yours first, and then perhaps mine, to quickly look afterwards. That's the benefit of the replay with multiple people's perspectives. And by the way, after today's town hall, the 4 games that we go over will be public for all of you to see, and from any player's perspective. So you can look at how they chat with people, how they optimize for tiles, a lot of the details. I think it's important to look at these things on your own to fully grasp what we're talking about. Because sometimes we can go over something that's very important very quickly, and maybe you'll miss it until you look at it yourself. So Kaladin, do you want to come on stage? Doesn't really matter, but it will be nice if you want to share your perspective. I'll wait for you for like 10 seconds. Okay, awesome. So, inviting you to speak. Hey, Cal.
Hello. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Doing-
You might want to up your speaker volume a bit more.
Okay. I think I was a little bit away from the mic. Is that a little
Okay,
bit better?
that's better. That's better.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's switch to your perspective.
So just remind me real quick which game. Well, I guess it's kind of a spoiler. I'll just.
This is the
Sorry.
game where
Like go in blind.
where you ran away. Where you ran away.
Oh, that happens a lot. That's not narrowing it down.
Okay.
Okay. So, as read, as you saw there, I do generally go for that level 3 first, because that's the only player in the game that is able to take that level 3 tile on round 1. Well, not necessarily true. It's a huge gamble if you do on the outside with 7 troops. You can technically win, but huge risk. So I'll take that. And it looks like I just built an economist right there on the level 3 tile too.
Wow, that's impressive that you.
I do. Yeah, right off the bat.
You took the cards from the tier 3 brave.
Yeah, well, big risk taker over here. But I do like to put my economist on a level 3 tile because of the defense bonus. So I'm getting 2 gold from this tile once that completes, and it's a little bit harder to take from me now. If I just keep some troops on there, I should be relatively safe and not lose my economist, which people like to steal later in the game.
Quickly interjecting, someone asked, you ever try to play straight flush? I have a video that will explain that. It's me winning with straight flush and how you operate, how you like maneuver, hiding your cards, how do you ask for trades, that kind of stuff. So just wait for that next game.
Oh, you have a video coming?
Oh no. So
Or
the next replay will be a straight one.
Oh, got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because someone asked, so it's perfect. Anyway,
Yeah.
Kaladin, feel free to.
Oh, I
continue.
just remember which game this was. So this is a terrible showing for me. Okay, anyways, so
Sorry, I could have chosen a better game.
yeah, you backstabbed me on this one. You just
We got duped.
yeah.
Kaladin,
Anyways.
Kaladin usually plays way better than this game.
I got it set up, dude. I'm out of here. But yeah, I spawned the tank round 2 so we can just get those 2 free level 1 tiles, get our gold back.
Yeah,
because
so
obviously
taking that
the
tank
cards-
to take those tier 1s for, effectively free, not costing Kaladin any gold, but not losing the tank by taking this. Really, really good move.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and I can talk about a bit, I was orange in this game, and really, this honest, honest reflection here, I went into the game, it's one of the last ranked games, that section, window, and I was really tired. I was like, let me play the most defensively as I can. I was even planning, pretty late, I was planning to put 2 forts next to my capital, and the buildings, that's why I produced building here and here. So I can have the forts next to them, and I'll just take people's gems and not cause trouble.
Yeah,
and the
that's
game
the
went
play style.
completely opposite to my expectation, and we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, and you see, really, while he was speaking there, we just did what you guys were just talking about. We put that 1 troop down here and got that free level 2 tile as well with the tank.
Right.
So we're maximizing
Put the troop
our
in your
income.
capital, yeah, and attack the tile across.
Yeah. So
So-
Kaladin has 4, the 4 tiles that are adjacent to the capital, which is usually a good move. Although Phyzix would say go get the if you want to play more aggressively, go get the corner tiles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
put
I mean-
yourself within 2 AP of attacking a capital if you want to be
Right.
more aggressive.
Yeah. So yeah,
I
seems
don't
like
this game.
you were sorry. next
No,
time.
it's funny. It's a good.
I can't wait
it's a
to
good
see.
Duper one.
Yeah. It's super funny.
I should have made friends with purple. I'm just gonna put that out there right now.
Yeah. So it seems
Here's
like
here's
you're
an interesting
Go ahead.
point. It looks like Kaladin, you decide to tell. I actually started with your gems, so I was hoping you'd say that. So you're telling Blue that you started with an extra one of their gems. My experience, that's granted you're the red player, so you're a little safer. You have a little more gold income and defense and whatnot. But I try to urge players not to divulge the information of the random gem that you've received, because it does end up making you a pretty good target, especially if you tell the red player that you have 2 of their gems. Never ever do that, because that's just so tempting as the red player to try and get those 2 red gems by destroying their capital later in the game. It just puts such a target on your head. And I've had multiple players be like, hey, I got 2 of your gems, let's team up. And it's like, oh no, I'm totally gonna destroy you later.
Are these colors correct in the chat bar right now?
Yeah.
That was a conversation between you and I. You're orange, right?
No, I was orange. Yeah, but yeah, I'm orange. Yeah, it's correct. But you're just chatting a lot more with blue.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was what I said to you. But
Oh yeah, see, so I was saying stuff like I'm 2 blocks in to go for victory myself. I'm saying that to everyone, and in fact I am a little bit, but
But you are actually
yeah.
very boxed.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so so what I was doing is I asked for everyone to borrow my attack point, because that's a way for me to collect more gems and to kind of earn without winning, and also that way I don't waste any attack points, so I feel better.
You are in here, Belfort. We thought we had this game. But we are going to see a good point of protect your capital like green is not doing in this game. We can kind of point out how dangerous it is to let somebody just kind of walk into your border like that.
Right.
Because now you see we're going to take this for free. again.
Oh yeah.
Very aggressive.
I mean, we're in round 5. Oh, you know what? I made an even bigger mistake in this match too.
You can
A nice
explain what that
like
is.
this is yeah, I will explain it because I'm already
Yeah.
in the ditch in this game. And it would have been a sick play. It ended up working out, but I was very lucky that it did. I think it's next turn though, so we'll just let that play out.
So you're trying to build a fort here, if I remember correctly.
I was gonna put it, I think, where the tank was.
Okay.
Because I borrowed it
so
from
you-
you. Yeah, I did.
You had to
And-
borrow. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
clicked.
I had the
pointing
fort
out.
researcher. Yeah.
Yeah, and I clicked and I hit the thing and I must have misclicked because it didn't go, and then I was like in a hurry because I didn't want him to drop troops and I just attacked. And the fort was not there.
Oh. Interesting.
But you also don't have a flesh. You have a.
I think
diamond.
I trade for it.
Okay.
Either
Oh,
that
okay,
or I was
gotcha.
just having a very bad day. We're gonna
So
find out.
just to explain what they're talking about, so Yijia, the orange player, has built the fort researcher building. Kaladin does not have a fort researcher, but
Oh yeah.
as the builder of the fort researcher or plane researcher, you can hand out the blueprints of those buildings to the other players, and it's another really good way to accumulate gems because it takes a gem from that player if they want to borrow a blueprint. And a blueprint allows you to build only one of that building type, or fort or plane, and it requires a flush, a 3-card flush, and 3 gold. So it's like, yeah, it's a really nice benefit to building something like a fort researcher.
Right.
To hand out those things to other players.
Yeah, and the reason why I usually build the economist building first, the reason why I got the fort researcher first, is because I actually wanted to play defensively. I wanted to drop those 2 forts, and I didn't. So I already got the free fort, but I didn't build it because I wanted to build both forts at the same time, so that I don't piss off one of the players next to me. It could seem aggressive, yeah, if I build one but not
Got
the
it.
other. So,
That's an interesting
Right.
point.
Yep,
Yeah.
I
But
did
it's
get
a-
my straight
yeah.
here, so, or my flush rather. So that's I didn't mess up that way.
Nice.
Nice. And that's a 3-card straight flush too. So, did you think about going for the straight flush
yeah.
victory here? Kaladin?
Very briefly, yes.
Okay.
But every time I try to hold out for it, I get killed.
I see. So that's where you're gonna produce. That's where you're about to attack green, I think.
Yep. And I was about to throw. Oh yeah,
you have no
because I
gold.
also spent all my gold. By
Oh,
accident
you can't
putting
build the
troops
fort
down.
now.
Yep. But I also
Ah.
I sold the gem to blue, and he accepted. Thanks, Belfort. And then I tried to quickly do it as my turn was ending, but the fort
Right.
didn't go. However, you saw we had 21 versus 21, so it
Oh
actually-
man.
Yeah.
it still worked.
It's so close.
Oh
But
my
normally
God.
in the case of a tie, you don't take the tile. But if the tie
Right.
is against a capital and that capital will then die,
Yeah.
you do get the tile underneath the destroyed capital.
So I'm probably pausing the game for a second because I want to explain my perspective over here. So I was the one who, me and Red were conspiring against Green. He asked for the fort researcher from me, and actually commenting on earlier point Phyzix made, I had the 2 initial gems from Red, and obviously I didn't say anything about it, and I kept soliciting for more gems. I think asked for like a swap gem. So at this point I have like 5 or 6 gems from Red, and purple, we had like 1 or 2 gems mutually, and purple kept asking me to attack red, and I believe I asked Kaladin like, hey, like purple is asking me to attack you, like why don't you swap with me so I have more gems from you so I can not attack you. And Kaladin was like, yeah, that's dope, I'll swap with you. So that's
did
how
give
you
you a lot
play
of
the
gems.
diplomacy game. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I ended up not attacking red for a long time. I just kept telling purple, hey, like I'm out of gold, man, like I need to upgrade level 3, like
Yeah, and that's what he
weak as
told me
fuck.
too when I asked for the support, by the way. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, you've got a fort there. Could you help me out? And he's like, oh, sorry, bro. Just upgrade. I can't do it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like you can always find excuses for not doing anything, Anyways,
And, yeah.
yeah.
In addition,
Belfort,
I
that's
touched on it a lot. Sorry.
That's a
Phyzix.
really good point, Belfort. He's saying he called Gigi's gems useless. So when a player is kind of playing this really defensive game, their gems are effectively useless because they have very, very, very little chance to actually, get the tile count victory
Right.
in the end. And so that's a really good thing to think about. If someone is playing that kind of defensive game plan, you do want to be wary about collecting their gems because
Yeah.
they're very unlikely to be worth anything.
So someone just spoiled the result. I did end up winning this one. Like totally did not
Yeah.
anticipate it, and it was out of desperation too. And you'll see, like if I didn't win, I would have lost that like miserably, because blue would have won. So but you'll see what happened. A lot of things happened.
No, all
from
good.
now.
Yeah, sounds good.
And something I touched on in the videos a lot too is you saw how heavily invested I did in killing green, so that really sets up a flare. Because they know how much gold I have using the upper left, you know, at the beginning of each round.
And also one thing to note, since you had a tie victory against green, your troops all got destroyed here, which means like any fort, any tanks you had, like they're gone, right? And that means you're very much weakened.
So now, they know I'm hurting, and
so purple right now, I believe, if I remember correctly, was just like planning to go for red, like all out. And I was failing to come up with more excuses for not attacking red. And I think at this point, I asked for more. So purple was very eager to ask me to attack red. And I kept asking for more purple gems, so I'm more aligned with him. So I think by the time I actually attacked red, I had 5 purple gems as well, which is quite nice. And blue over here, so the blue player, I mean, I think blue has done a good job other than not building economists. Like blue's done a good job just like kind of expanding quietly without alerting anyone. And they were really close to victory at the end.
Yeah, the lack of the economist actually was the Achilles heel there, and that wasn't even something that like I fully realized until we got up to that point.
And Belfort, you're in the chat. You're the blue player. Yeah, so you have no straights. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, sometimes it's
Be tough
bad
out there.
Yeah,
right.
There goes my economist, and he has a 28 troop attack. So.
Oh
not
wait,
much
what
I'm
happened?
doing.
Oh,
Especially
purple
after-
attack. Gotcha.
Especially after just killing green, there's no way I'm defending this. Like economically, it's not gonna happen.
So I actually disagreed on that, and we'll get to it when you pull that off. So yeah, but purple did try to attack. Actually, let's see. Oh, you try to attack purple, or let me see.
Yeah, I pop a fort and I put all my troops in, thinking that I should have let him attack me. You know, Duper hindsight's always 20/20. I should have just allowed him to try to attack me again.
Right.
I'm not sure where my head was at.
I see.
Well, wait,
that makes sense. That makes sense now.
Yeah.
I thought he attacked you, and in that case, you probably shouldn't have needed to have run away. But if you
So
attacked
that was basically
Right.
the end of it for me. I should have just let him attack if he wanted to. Although it probably actually I would have won probably on the defense.
Right.
But
So yeah, interestingly, the purple player is choosing here not to level up their capital to level 3. So they're kind of focused on the immediate combat need with red. So that will hamper their gold production quite a bit in the late game.
It did hurt them late
in this
game.
particular case, in this particular case, right on this turn, it did give them a pretty big advantage in combat against red.
So yeah,
because it is only round 7.
because I knew I think he's got 3 tanks in this fort, and then he's going to put more troops down. So at that point, I'm dead broke, and I wanted to stay alive.
So you had 1 gold, and to stay alive.
Oof,
and,
that is a really tough spot to transform your capital.
In this situation, like I think you're making the right move, like to run away. Because otherwise, you lose all your stake immediately.
Yeah, exactly. So we're just trying to stay alive at this point. Maybe we break even, maybe we minimize our losses, but we're gonna. I think we end up talking with blue quite a bit, and we have a good little teamwork going. Like, we almost had him.
So at this point, I think purple was really fixated on attacking red, and just like we kept talking about attacking red. It seems like that's just the topic, and we forgot about blue a little bit. Until blue got too strong, and you'll see how blue got to level, blue will get to level 3 pretty quickly, and purple's level 2, and their gold difference will just start to play out over here.
What is my capital doing right now?
So your capital is just getting further and further away, so to be safe.
Yep, and I took this 3 for the defensive bonus, and so I get a gold per turn
Right.
at least. So
Yeah, and purple kept telling me to attack red, so I think next turn I do attack.
you finally did it.
Yeah. Yeah, and over here, I think red is basically exclusively talking to blue at this point. You have 3 blue gems. Blue has 2 of yours at least. Well, only 2 of you because I had the 2 gems from you.
Yeah, he didn't
So-
have a whole lot.
Right. But you're not gonna win anyways.
Yeah.
So it's more
So here I
important
was
your
actually,
gems.
I wasn't gonna win. I was telling him to save his AP this round because I think he ends up taking a tile here, and that's when it puts the banner across the top that he's approaching tile victory. And now suddenly you guys are like, oh wait a minute, blue does exist, and he's getting close.
Right.
And then here you are, still lying to me. Good job.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I said pretending to attack so purple is not suspicious of me. Okay, so there's the music change
Yep.
and the banner.
Yeah. So yeah, and at this point too, I was totally under the impression that he had an economist because we're in round 8, and my brain is not comprehending the rest of the game. But the plan was for him to take three tiles in the next turn,
Right.
or 2 rather. He's just gonna buy my AP and then have the one he gets.
Yeah. So, let's see. Purple's turn. I think purple tried to attack. Let's see what purple did.
I think he did, yeah. But I think blue ended up.
Oh, they got a neutral tile. So, this is, I'm not sure how many gems purple had of blues. I think it's not a lot. I don't think it's a lot. And perhaps in this situation, it's better to attack blue. What do you guys think compared to getting a free tile?
I think we're gonna hit the realization soon that he doesn't have an economist. The chat is just gonna unravel here in a second.
Lol. Ah. Yeah. Okay, so they're asking for.
Yeah, so that's
Attack
he just
once.
realized what I was telling him to do instead of taking that tile on Western. But in hindsight, it wouldn't have worked anyways because the economist was not there.
Right. And at this
And
point,
then
I
that-
was
we
still.
both-
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, no. At the same time, we realized that the economist is gone and this chat was closed.
Oh yeah, you have no economist, Lamau. So at this point, I'm just trying to attack blue through red's territory, because that's the closest path anyways. And I think I told red, like, don't worry, I'm not going for you. And Kaladin was pretty skeptical.
You fooled me once. Shame on me.
Oh,
Yeah, in
music a bit
hindsight here,
too
too,
loud.
I,
Okay. I will.
In hindsight here too, I was kind of wishing that I just came over here with my capital and killed your troop there, and that
Yeah.
actually would have saved. It
Right,
actually probably would have
right.
saved the game.
Honestly, like that could have turned the game around completely, because I didn't have enough gold. I like.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
know how many troops you had there because you just attacked, the number popped
Exactly,
up. And
exactly.
I mean, it's not more than 21, so
Right.
I should have definitely killed you there.
Yeah. So over here, I'm pausing the game for a bit. You see blue has 10 tiles. So if you get to the next round, next turn for blue, he'll win, right? So that's a very tough choice for me. Like, I didn't think about winning ever until this point. But then I was like, oh, I have 8 tiles. And I have 1 attack point before my turn started. So maybe if I just borrowed an attack point, I'll be able to win. And turns out that's correct. So, basically I was thinking to let red win at the beginning and let purple win towards, the second half of the game. But then purple was too weak economically. So, had to do what I need to do, which is winning. And it's funny because I was soliciting for purple's gems through swap gems, And purple was very reluctant at first, and I think I had to pressure him into, he realizes that he needed my help, so he did the final swap, and that ended up benefiting him because he also got my gems, from the swaps, and I at the end had like 1 gem of my own. So it's interesting how things can play out, like things can turn around at any moment. And also, as Kaladin said, if he simply attacked my frontier with his capital, and I didn't have 21 troops here, like blue would have won. And I think orange I had like, only 2 of blue's gems. So I would have lost money. Yeah.
And I think you pull a 3-tile swing here, right? Because actually I was under the impression that we were about to win because purple failed.
Right. Right. So yeah, I'm telling Kaladin, don't worry, not coming for you. Just going for blue through your territory. Oh yeah, I'm telling blue, well played. Oh, you're telling blue, well played. Yeah. Exhilarating. Don't want to jinx it.
Well.
Oh.
About that. So yeah, this is the play that I actually told blue to do. We couldn't have done it without the economist, but you're going to see Yijia do it here, where he's going to use 3 AP on 1 turn.
Yeah.
Because I assume you buy it from purple?
Yeah, I bought it from purple, because it's my only ally at this point.
I actually didn't know that he still had one. He could have walked out on the blue with his tank after he cleared the tile.
Right, so it's a lot of coincidence. And
if he did do that, then yeah.
Right,
Well,
didn't show the last attack, but I did win. And you see, I only had 1 of my own gems, so I was like, not earning a lot. Purple had 5, so they were like, the biggest earner. And yeah, Kaladin, so blue actually, blue also benefited from the last 2 swap gems. I didn't really trade with blue at all until he was about to win. And I was like, hey man, can you give me some of my gems? Like, let's be friends. And so we did 2 swap gems.
Yijia, can we make it so that we see the last attack? Because half the time I'm like, I want to see what the last attack was to know how the game was won.
No, yeah,
It's
this is a problem in
frustrating.
replay. Well, yeah, definitely, we'll fix that.
Oh, not even in replay, like in the game
Oh,
itself.
in the
It's
game.
like,
I see. Interesting. Yeah, we'll definitely look into it. I think we already for half of the situations it should be fine now. For the other half, it's still a little too fast. We'll look into that for sure.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, and
it's a good lesson in minimizing losses too.
Right.
You get some gems. Like I by no means was going to win this game after I completely shot myself in the foot, but we survived, and we didn't lose our whole stake. We only lost a very small portion of it.
Right, except Wayne, who was obliterated at the beginning.
Yes.
So yeah.
Sorry, Green.
All right, so let's take a brief moment to answer questions again. And perhaps we'll just look at one more game because it's an hour, 15 minutes in, and we don't want to go for too long. So you guys can play some casual perhaps in a bit. And tomorrow, by the way, ranked games will still be same time, 7 a.m. PT to 12 p.m. Pacific time, which is 4 p.m. Central European time, 10 p.m. Singapore, Hong Kong, China time. So yeah. Let's see, are there any questions? If you do, ask away in the chat, and otherwise we'll look at one more game and call it a day. All right, so
maybe not so much a question, but a comment. Earlier in the game, and this particular one, everyone was saying the red player taking the 3-tile with the, you need 10 power to take it out is risky. I don't think so. I like the fact that you can see the cards ahead of time, so you can see if you want to pick up the cards or pick up the money, and then you have an investment. But yeah, that's just a comment that I have.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I knew that I had a pair there too, so I could get the level 1s for free, because I could just get a tank on the next turn. So that's another reason I think I went for the cards, just to build a building real quick, grab a tank on the second round, and start cleaning up.
For sure.
Because again, I had 2 AP still in the second round, so easy 2 tiles. And if we roll good, that's 6 gold, 5, 6 gold.
Yeah. Someone asked, any chance to survive against red if he decides to kill your level 2 base by round 4 once forts are ready? Any way to defend against the famous fort rush? Physics teacher?
Physics looks like he's frozen. Actually,
Oh.
I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, he looks frozen.
If you smell it out early, and you keep troops like next to your base, it's possible. But I'll have to go way too far back. But the one that Physics did on me, no matter how I did the math, I was dead with what he had. But it can be close if you play it right. And I'm sure he's going to elaborate a little bit further when there he is. He's back.
Okay,
Yeah, you're back.
Am I working now?
Yes.
Oh dang! I wonder how long I was frozen. Okay,
You
that's
were
weird.
frozen for a long time. I saw that expression
Shoot.
for a while.
Oh jeez. All
I was
right.
Yeah, I was
wondering
like,
why
man,
you
he's
didn't.
bored.
Yeah.
I honestly was like, can people not hear me? Because I felt like I was talking, but anyway.
Oh yeah.
Um.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. Anyway. Yeah, you can defend against Fort Rush depending on the game. Some games you can't. It really depends on things like how much gold is red getting from tier 1 tiles, how much gold are you getting. It depends on at what point they can build a fort researcher, if they win combo rewards. It's not black and white from game to game. It really does depend on a number of things. It is really hard to defend against, though, generally speaking. If the red player just from the outset of a game is like, I'm gonna fort rush and destroy this player, there's very little you can do, but it does mean that they might make themselves extremely vulnerable to other players depending on the game, basically. So it's not always optimal, I guess, for the red player to do that.
Yep. Okay. Let's look at this new game. I think this is the straight flush victory one, and I believe I was the person who pulled off the victory, but I don't remember which player I was. So maybe we can just okay, if you guys don't mind, let me jump to round 5 and take a brief look.
That's a quick straight flush you got.
So let's see which player. Okay, I'm definitely not. Let me see. So ace 2 and is it this player? Let me see. Yeah, let's just see who won at the end, and then we can look from that perspective. Okay, red. Okay, so it is red. All right, let's go to red perspective. All right. And we can start from round 1. Why not? So this happened pretty quickly. As you can see, there's only 5 rounds in this game. So it should be a pretty quick one. And the early stuff is pretty standard. Just do a
So
4x.
you're the dealer in this one?
Yeah,
Yijia?
I was the dealer.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
yeah, I captured 2 tiles, and I believe this is a level 2 tile. Yeah, so I definitely agree with what Phyzix said earlier. Use your 5 on a level 2 if there's one next to you. And since I could also produce a tank, I used that on the level 1 and another level 1. So it's very important to optimize gold. Yeah.
What did you get? Did you pick up the card or pick up the money from the 2 that you hit?
I for level 2 tile, I usually always choose the gold compared to level 3. And the reason is because it's 3 gold versus 1 unknown card. And for level 3, it's 4 gold versus 2 known cards, right? And the balance just seems to be very tilted towards the 3 gold for level 2.
Also, if you're getting another card at the beginning of your turn in round 2, if you're not able to use the card you get off of the tier 3 tile, you'll have a max hand size, and then you'll just end up discarding a card in round 2 anyway, which is not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
So flushes.
We're on.
Straight flush is funny because there's nothing more euphoric than getting it, and there's nothing more demoralizing than losing to it.
Right.
Like, I've been destroyed before, like, Phyzix Fort rushed me round 3, like, that's fine, I'll die, but, like, I don't know, for some reason, straight flush feels worse.
Yeah.
That's why, especially as the red player, I think it's important to try and save an attack point. Essentially, the second after you get level 3 capital and you're not trying to maximize your gold income, because it means if someone does suddenly almost have a straight flush, that you can
Okay.
very quickly start attacking them with 2 attack points.
Modio mentioned, I sometimes pick cards more often than gold even for level 2 tiles because I like to raise. Modio, do you want to speak on stage about that? Because that's something I've never tried before. I don't know if
So
you
then
can
he's
talk.
using the cards he
Alright.
gets to distribute gems. Pretty smart, actually.
Alright, welcome Modio. Modio is our lead game designer, by the way. So he, designed a lot of the game mechanics. Anyway, you're
Lead
muted.
Deceptor too. Very lead Deceptor.
You're muted, by the way, Modio. So if you're talking, oh yeah, there
Can
you
you hear
are.
me?
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes, like, I personally like to pick cards. Sometimes, like, this is something I didn't try before, but like I'm trying it more often because I like to raise. So when you're raising, you have a lot of gems, and when you have a lot of gems, like you want to use that to your advantage, right? Like you want to distribute it out to people, and then like ask people to help you. So you need those cards to build the buildings and while like trading with other people. So that's my perspective when I'm like picking cards every time. Yeah.
That makes sense, because I guess it's the only way in which you get, like, in quantity, more cards than you are supposed to.
Right. Yeah, sometimes I don't care about like what cards I get, so I don't care if it's known or unknown. I just want to draw some cards, and because I know like very likely someone will need it. Like even though I don't need it, like someone will need it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I've never thought about that before. So
Yeah, I haven't really tried that strategy. I'll have to try that at some point. I will say that by maximizing your gold income, you are leveling up your capital, which is another source of cards. Obviously, in terms of total cards, you will get more by taking tiles and getting cards. But I've basically relied on the fact that, like, you're getting a card as you upgrade to level 2, and then getting 2 cards as you upgrade to level 3 to kind of fuel your trades. But I'm very interested to try out a very aggressive raise strategy where you have lots of gems and lots of people feel like they have lots of your gems, but in reality, because you've raised so much, you're actually diluting everyone. So they feel like a stronger ally than they essentially are, and then using that's really interesting.
Yeah, and it's interesting. T-Bones just, I don't know, am I saying that correctly? For level 3, always choose 2 cards. It's interesting because for me, I always choose 4 gold, and I'm glad to see different strategies working out, which is ideal for Duper. And someone asked about top combos. How does that work? When round 1 combo should be rewarded, and up to until when each round finish? Perhaps it's Phyzix. Do you want to, or Kaladin or Zent? Phyzix. Maybe you can explain how combos.
So, for example, right now it says on the screen that the next drop is round 5. So, and the previous drop was in round 3. So, any combos, that means that any combos played in either in, is that right? In round 4 in that case. No, sorry. So it would be any combos that are played after. So from round 3, because the combo reward happens at the very beginning of round 3. So any combos played in round 3 and in round 4 have a chance to win the combo reward at the beginning of round 5. So it's over 2 rounds essentially. Combos played before a combo reward that lose, like let's say in round 1 and 2, that don't get the combo reward in round 3, don't roll over. As far as I know, don't roll over to like trying to get the round 5. You have to play them in the corresponding rounds to that combo reward. Hope that answers the question.
Yep. Okay, let's continue with the game. So yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, I'm like using a different chat style with people this time. Shall we forge an eternal alliance? Just saying some random stuff.
And some role playing.
Yeah.
That's typically how I open as well. It's just something ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know. It just makes it unpredictable. Like other people, it's harder for them to tell who it is.
Unfortunately for me, they find out pretty quickly when I say something dumb like that, so I gotta start changing it up.
Yeah. So yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so right now, you know, typical early game stuff. It's already half of the game, even though it's only round 3. And right now I have no signs of getting the straight flush, by the way. So it's like, it's crazy how this game turned out. I hid those cards, not because of straight flush, but because I want to go for the economic conference once the economic center is ready. And I don't want other people to accidentally take it. So that's another reason to hide your cards, is like, if you don't want to look at the trades, you just are sure you're going to use those cards, you can hide them. So I think, yeah, I just used that to get 5 gold and attack the level 3 capital. I believe I chose gold. Yeah, I chose gold. Oh yeah, said the same thing to blue. Oh yeah, the first interaction with the orange is buy attack point, and he accepted. So that's pretty funny.
Oh my god. That's
And you're standing outside his base, right on his doorstep.
And the rationale is, seems like orange is a bit slow expanding, so I thought he's a new player. And you know, usually when someone buys an attack point with you when you're not aligned, do not accept, because he may use that against, especially if you look at this tile.
Especially if you're right there.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you need like 4, you know, you need like three absolute minimum, ideally like 4 or 5 gems of someone to accept attack point trade.
Right.
Because they're either generally gonna win the game with it, or like destroy capital with it.
Right.
And you don't want to be the capital that gets destroyed.
Yeah.
So I still have no signs of getting that straight flush. And it's already round 4, right? Oh yeah.
So you pull this off all in one round.
I think I'm kind of, I believe, I remember it's very fast, but I don't remember how exactly it turned out. I do remember though, I had to swap 3 times with players at in the last round to make the straight flush.
Do you grab this 3 out of the discard? Because that's gonna be something to cover too. Because some people don't actually see that.
I didn't grab from the discard, but
okay.
that indeed is a good, like, is a good strategy. Like, look at what's in the discard. You know, just imagine that's part of your card holdings, if that's the card you need, especially. Okay, let's see. Oh, I upgraded. That's what gave me the 2 cards. Okay, that makes sense. So now I have 3 and 5, and I looked briefly, 1 ace, 2, and I think 4 are all in other people's holding. So, you know, that I just very quickly decided to go for the straight flush, and I'm gonna play on 1x speed now because I think it happens pretty fast. So I immediately
instantly hide the cards.
Right. Yeah. Instantly hide the cards. And
do you take this 3 for cards here? Is that what you do?
You can what? Sorry.
Because you need more cards to trade. So do you take this 3 and take the cards?
I think either the 2 or the 3. Yes, that's exactly what I did. So.
Yeah, because you don't
first
have,
I did the
you need
trade.
5 cards. Yeah.
Right. I got the 2 from green, and then I haven't attacked. I'm still contemplating what exactly to do.
I'm curious to see if you fire these trades off at the same time. No one notices. Oh, you got it.
So I got the ace, I got the 2, right? And there's this last 4. So green, you know, if I were green, actually maybe one of you can explain, you know, if you were green, what you would do.
I would extort gems out of you before I give you that 4.
Exactly. So
yeah, you gotta ask for as many gems as they'll give you. Yeah.
Right. So green has, you know, 3 gems. And okay, so the reason why I went for the second last card from orange instead of green is because green is more likely to give me that last card because he has 3 of my gems. Orange didn't know I had a straight flush when he gave me that card, so it doesn't really matter. But then, you know, green, like, they already had 3 gems, so they should have asked for more. Like, they should have gotten to 5 or 6, but you know, it would make more sense for them to give. Maybe they just didn't think like, oh, like I have enough. It's never like, yeah, you can always ask for more in Duper. You can ask for like 7 or 8 gems from someone. It's never, yeah. So I think, yeah.
Sorry. I was just saying, just remember that if they win, they get their stake back. So really, they only need a couple gems.
Right.
To be
exactly.
Like, whereas you need more to kind of come out on top.
Right. So I think I attacked one of the tiles. I forgot which. Probably the level 2 or level 3. Let's see. And it's going by very quickly.
We don't have much time.
Oh yeah, I attacked 2. And I got the
Nice.
card, I believe. And notice all of my, 4 cards from the, and I don't really care what card this is, right? Because I just need 1 card to be able to swap for another player's card, i.e. this 4 diamonds. And yeah, I made sure to hide all the other 4 cards of the straight flush, so that, I mean, it's not really useful at this point. It's kind of useful, like, if you're playing against Phyzix, Kaladin, or Zentrani, it's not useful because they kind of guess what cards you already have. For new players, maybe they don't know like what card you need, so you can say, oh, I actually need like 3 of spades, and just getting this card so I can make an economist or something, and maybe they'll believe it.
Yeah. Typically, you'll see just all trades rejected from a player that's sending
Right.
them out with the straight flush warning on the top of the
Definitely.
screen because you don't know.
Yeah, so just got the straight flush. And since it happened so quickly, I didn't need to distribute out more of my gems. So I still had 4 of my gems, which is quite a lot for winning. That gave me easily the biggest earning out of the game. And orange, I was surprised. I mean, orange probably had the 1 to start with, and green had the 4 from trading. So yeah, and both of these players also earned a little bit. And the people who didn't trade with me lost money. So yeah. Any questions about the straight flush? I think it's a pretty good. I think this was a good example to show how you think about how to win a straight flush.
Yeah, I'm scrolling back up to those questions we had earlier. I think we probably explained it in the game, but let's say you have 3 cards, you notice the other player's 4th card, well, you insta-buy that card and put target on your head. So I would say try to avoid insta-buying to get the 4th card as long as possible, essentially, because as soon as the notification comes up, everyone's going to start targeting you. I know if I'm in the game, you probably won't be around for very long. If you do have that notification that pops up that alerts all the players that you almost have a straight flush, unless I already have a good number of your gems. And so yeah, sometimes it's best to just let the player know in the chat, hey, if we could go for straight flush, can you hold on to that 4 of diamonds or whatever it is, and then just like secretly both be trying to get the 5th card without actually completing the 4 or 5 cards yet. We ask that player do not use it. Yeah, so the second point you have, will you ask that player do not use / trade that card and see how it goes? Yep. And honestly, I usually just ignore straight flushes. Personally, I'm not a straight flush type of guy, so
I've been
don't
bit more
typically
often
go
than
for
not
it.
trying.
Yeah, straight flush very risky. Like for every attempt to go for straight flush, there's at least one situation where you decide to go to straight flush and just never get it, and at the meantime you can't produce anything because you need like 3 for building. Yeah.
Everyone's coming for you, and you're not building
Yeah.
tanks or buildings. You're just
Right.
That's another reason.
Yeah.
If you can have another player hold part of the straight flush, it means you could still do like econ conferences and tanks if you're holding 3 of the cards.
Yeah.
While still working towards that straight flush.
I keep watching and playing games where there's been this one player with potential straight flush for like multiple turns, and I'm about to win, or someone else I'm allied to is about to win, and all of a sudden they attack a 2 or a 3 tile, and all of a sudden they win. And I'm just like, what the fuck? This happens way too often.
Getting the extra cards from those extra tiles, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's demoralizing for sure. But if you get it, you feel like a legend too.
It's worse off at 2 than it is at 3. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully, straight flush don't happen a lot. I think it's like maybe 1 in 10 games or something, roughly that.
It's
probability.
low, yeah. It used to be worse, I think, when everyone was a lot worse at the game, because games would stall out.
Oh
and,
yeah. It would take a lot longer.
People, we didn't understand, I think, how quickly games can happen. But yeah, I think right now it has felt a lot better.
Yeah.
Than, maybe in the past.
Someone asked, what's the percentage that you get that 3 diamonds? So
there's two questions there. One, what's the probability that you see those 3 diamonds in other people's hands? And two, what's the probability that you get it? The former is pure probability. It's like, I think it's pretty low. I've never seen that before out of like the 15 straight flush games I've been in, probably in Duper lifetime. So pretty low. The latter depends on how you execute, right? So in that case, if I did any of, like, it required an almost perfect sequence of actions. If I wanted to get the last card from orange, I probably could have, but I would need to give out like almost entirety of my remaining gems. Let's say if that orange player was one of you guys, like the top players. So it kind of requires a lot of thinking, but I think that probability is pretty high actually if you carry it out. Yeah. If the card's already used, the one you need for straight flush will be recycled. Oh, so it's important to. I guess it's not directly intuitive how cards recycle in this game. So there's one deck of poker cards in Duper, and actually every time cards are used, they go into discard pile for the next round, and then after that they get reshuffled, not put at the bottom of the deck. So if you just use the card, like let's say 3 of spades, like it goes into discard pile. If you use it, it goes directly reshuffled to the deck. But if you discard it, it goes to the discard pile. The next round goes in the deck, and you might just get it. Someone might just get it from the top. So yeah, something to note. So don't think because you discarded or used the card that it won't appear for a long time. That's not the case. Cool. I think we're close to wrapping up, and I did promise to give away 5 discounts to people who buy new season passes. So we'll like maybe do the wrap. Like this is the first time I've done anything like this. There's like a tool called like let me just take a moment to see what that tool looks like. I think it's name pick. Perhaps we'll do this after the town hall's over, so it doesn't waste everyone's time. But we'll announce it in something like announcements or perhaps Twitter.
Sounds good.
So yeah, and then so ranked games tomorrow, same time as Tuesday. In terms of season 1 milestone, season 1 plan, tournaments will start to come around week 4. So we are observing how you guys are playing. If you're playing very often, playing well, you'll get a priority in participating in tournaments, and hopefully there will be a bigger prize than on any weekly leaderboard / any games that you can earn individually. So the grind is definitely worth, and especially if you have a season pass, that'll increase your expected return even further. We lose money on the season pass, so like that's like it's definitely worth for now. Let me think.
And you're talking about doing potentially some free tournaments too, potentially? Is that still on the table?
So we're still thinking about the exact format of the tournament.
Got it.
The like end of season big tournament will definitely be ETH. Like there will be ETH involved, but there may be some smaller thing beforehand that allows more people to participate. I mean, like all of these casual windows. If you look at like the weekly leaderboard as itself, like it's kind of like a mini tournament, except I guess people can play various number of games. So there's a bit of advantage to people who just play more, as opposed to an actual tournament. And we're open to ideas. Like one of the difficulties of hosting tournament with free is like to have both as many people participate and everyone play the same number of games, and it's fairly like distributed, so like people don't play repeats against each other, and taken into time zones. Like that's just a mess to commit to. But we'll think on it more. If you have ideas, feel free to mention in general channel. But yeah, like and in general, like if you if you have interesting content, like how Phyzix and Kaladin are writing, in the forum and producing videos, definitely share it over here. We do plan to compile a list of helpful player-generated resource later this week. So that will definitely gain more exposure from the official. And yeah, if you have any just general ideas on how Duper can improve, both from a games perspective and as an ecosystem, feel free to mention like in general or in suggestions. We take your feedback very seriously. And yeah, let's fucking Duper. I think that's all I wanted to say.
Cool.
In this town hall,
RxDX has one last question if you want to answer it.
Oh yeah, let's see.
Yijia.
Can you explain how
He's
bonus
asking you.
raffles work? What are the chances? What are the difference for winners in casual and losers in ranked, if non-confidential? I mean, the exact probability is I won't say the exact probability, but generally it's like if you do well in casual games, you might get raffles, and if you lose in ranked games, I believe it's something like between 20 to 30% chance where you get either the entire amount you lost or the like 0.005 entry fee, whichever one's higher. So it kind of alleviates the pain of loss a little bit at the beginning. But yeah, let's fucking Duper. And see you next week on this town hall, and see you in games.
See you guys.
See you. And appreciate Inhuman, Phyzix Teacher, Kaladin, Zentrani, and Modio for coming up to speak, share your perspectives, ask questions, and thank everyone for asking very constructive questions.
Yeah, good questions, guys.
Yeah, really good questions. We'll do this next week. See you guys.
See you guys.
Okay.